Hi everybody, thanks for having me today. We're going to talk about 3 tactics you can use to get to 180,000 yearly organic visitors in under 12 months. I'm Josh Duty and you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Josh Duty. I'm an electrical engineer, computer engineer, and MBA, all from the University of Florida. Most recently, I wrote my book, Fearless Salary Negotiation, a step-by-step guide to getting paid what you're worth, and I built my business around that book, and I sell the book and courses and one-on-one coaching, all from my site, fearlessSalaryNegotiation.com, which we're going to use as sort of the source of a case study, and I'll show you before we get started what I've done with fearlessSalaryNegotiation.com, and then I'll tell you how I've done it. So to give you some perspective here, the first quarter of 2016, I had 225 total organic visitors to fearlessSalaryNegotiation.com. And you can see that in Google Analytics, my weekly visitors report, the y-axis is capped at 40 weekly visitors. So not a whole lot of traffic, January to March 2016. Let's jump to April 2016, right to the right side of this graph. And you can see that since then until the end of February 2017, so about 10 months, the y-axis has gone up to 5,000 weekly visitors, and instead of 225 total visitors in 3 months, I get 225 visitors about every 6 hours. So that's what I've done with fearlessSalaryNegotiation.com. Now let me tell you how I did it and give you the 3 tactics that I promised at the beginning of my talk. The first tactic is creating content in a way that will help you to get more organic visitors. And so here is how you can create that content. First, write for specific keywords. So you might have an article in mind that you want to write, but chances are that the way that you would describe the topic you're writing about may be different than how most people would search for it. And the most important thing with organic traffic is writing articles in a way that when people search for your topic with the words that they would use to describe it, that they find it. So you can use tools like Google's keyword tool through AdWords to find good keywords that represent your topic well and maybe better than the ones you would choose. And I've got some more of those in the link at the end of the presentation. So there are tools that you can use to find the right keywords. Once you have your topic in mind, it's worth spending time to find the right keywords that people are searching for to represent your topic so that you can use those keywords to build good content that Google will find and it will show to them when they're looking for your topic. There are 3 places where you want to emphasize the keywords that you find. So as you're creating this content, there are 3 main places to leverage the keywords. And the first one is the slug, or the URL. So this is the literal URL that you would type in to go to the page and that people will click through to from Google. And so, for example, let's say your site is acmecorp.com and you have an article on dishwasher repair, then a good slug for that, if that's the keyword that you're targeting, would be dishwasher-repair. So acmecorp.com/dishwasher-repair is a good way to use those keywords in your slug so that people can read it and so that Google can identify it as a thing related to that keyword. Next is your title. So this is literally what's in the title tags, the HTML title tags in the head of your HTML document. Again, you want to emphasize your keywords there. Google also uses the title to show the page title and the little blue link that you click in the search results, so that's important there as well. And the last place is in the above the fold content on the page itself. So above the fold means what you see when you load the page in your browser for the first time. Those words on the page should emphasize your keywords and related keywords so that Google can find it, index it, and be aware that you're writing about keywords that people are searching for. Let me show you an example from my own site. So we'll start at the top with the slug. The slug of this page at fearlessSalaryNegotiation.com is salary negotiation email sample. That's the keyword phrase that I'm targeting with this page. You can see in the above the fold content that I have lots of words highlighted that are either directly the keywords that I'm targeting or they're related keywords. So again, I'm using those keywords to write the content on this page so that Google can identify it as a page that is authoritative on this topic. And then lastly, at the bottom, you can see that the title of the page, which you can't see here, but you'll see in the next slide, is Salary Negotiation Email Free Counteroffer Template. So my phrase is Salary Negotiation Email Sample, and I'm using that in the slug, the title, and the above the fold content to tell Google that this is a page about salary negotiation email sample, so when people search for that phrase, they find it. And this is what they see in Google. So you can see that for just the shorter phrase, salary negotiation email, I rank 3rd in Google right now. You can see I've identified the title there with a little arrow, which is salary negotiation email free counteroffer template like we saw before, and you can see the slug is right there too. So Google is using these factors to rank phrases when people search for salary negotiation email, and that helps me rank better. And you can see my head keyword is actually salary negotiation email sample, and I ranked second for that phrase. So putting all these together is how I got ranked third. This page it drove about 12,000 organic visits in March this year. Just to my site. So just that page alone drives a lot of traffic to my site, and it's because I engineered it for the keywords salary negotiation email sample. Okay, so you've got a good piece of content. What do you do to make sure that your content is emphasized and discoverable by Google? Well, the first thing you need to do is make your site crawlable. And in order to make your site crawlable, what that means is you want to make it so that Google can traverse the site easily with the way that it crawls sites. And so this screenshot, I think, is stolen from Moz. I think it illustrates very well how it works, which is imagine that you're navigating your site, but you don't have a keyboard, so you can't type URLs in. Instead, you have to use only your mouse. So you can scroll up and down, and you can see what's on the page, and you can click links. So if you were on your home page, for example, which would be maybe the top node on the site, you would read the stuff on the page, index those words relative to keywords that people are searching for, and then find links, and you would click a link, and you would go to that second row, and you would read the stuff on that page, and then you would look for another link, and you would keep doing that. And you might circle back and work backwards and go home occasionally, but you're only scrolling, reading, and clicking, and that's the way that Google searches. So what you want to make sure that you do is make your site crawlable and make sure that any page that you want Google to index is accessible using this method. So if you've got pages that are sort of out on an island and they're not really linked to by other pages on your site, it's very likely that Google will never index that page, or that it'll sort of de-rank it because it'll say, well, it must not be very important because the site's not even linking to this page itself. So why would I point people there, is what Google will think. So here's an example of how I do this on my site. If you were to scroll all the way down my homepage or almost any page on my site to my footer, what you'll see is a little link for recent articles. And this is my way of letting Google access sort of the posts or just long form articles that I write. So if Google comes through and it scrolls and it reads and then it clicks recent articles, it will see just a list of all my articles. There are about 25 of them. And the title's there and some things that it can crawl in terms of interesting words. But then there's a read more link, and it clicks the read more link, and now it's reading that article. And from the article, you can see I've got above the fold content here. I've got keywords and all that good stuff. And then Google can click in the upper left-hand corner to go back home. So there's kind of a nice little loop there. Or it can scroll all the way down to my footer and see what you saw before and click another link and go search that. So this is the way that I make sure that Google finds all my long-form articles at least one time when it's crawling through my site. The next thing you want to do is emphasize important pages. This is really about number of links. And so on my site, you can see that I have a popular pages section, and there are certain pages that I really want to tell Google, like, hey, I want some traffic to these pages. I think these are important pages, and so I'm telling you they're important by putting them in my footer. The reason that matters is my footer is on pretty much every page on my site, which means that if you just count the number of links to these pages, there will be more to these pages that are in the footer because it's on every page. So there are about 150 links to everything that you see on the screen here. So these popular pages are pages that are popular, but also that I want Google to make popular by saying, hey, I've got 150 links to these pages. Let's try and rank those highly, and I think people are looking for them. And then the last thing that you can do is use keywords in your anchor text. So when you have a link, either internal on your site or even external coming in, if you can control the text in that link, you want to make sure that you emphasize those keywords that you are writing for. So we looked earlier at salary negotiation email sample, and you can see in my footer again, which means pretty much every page on my site links to that salary negotiation email sample page using exactly the keyword that I'm targeting there, that phrase, salary negotiation email sample. So over and over again, I'm using that phrase in the anchor tag text to let Google know that this is the phrase that I think people are looking for when they find this page. So let's show that to them if it's relevant to their search. Okay, and then the last thing that you want to do, the third tactic, is to build inbound links. So we talked about internal links, how to link on your site to tell Google what stuff is available, but also what's important. And then you also want to get links from other sites to your own. This can be more challenging because everything we've talked about so far is stuff that you can control on your own site, on your own without other help. But in order to get inbound links from other sites, you usually have to go to somebody else's site and get them to link to you. So let's talk about two ways that you can do that. The first one is podcasting. If you can guest on a podcast, usually the podcast will have show notes. And in the show notes, they'll link to you and your Twitter bio and maybe your website. So that's a really good way to do that. Getting on podcasts is really not that hard. I was on about 25 of them last year. And in the link at the end of this presentation, I'll have some resources that you can read up on how to get onto podcasts to talk about your area of expertise and hopefully get backlinks in the show notes. And the last one is guest posting or writing blog posts for other sites. My preference is actually to syndicate existing stuff that I've written and republish it on other sites. But either way, usually when you do that, not only will you get to write for another audience and maybe see how they respond, but you can get links back to your own articles, either internally on the post that you write or just in a bio that says, this is written by Josh Duty, who writes other stuff at fearlesssalary.negotiation.com, for example. So guest posting is a great way to add value to somebody else's audience and also get links back to your site. Once you get that traffic to your site, it is important to think about how you're going to hopefully bring some of those people into your ecosystem, which I'll call capturing leads here. So if we were to scroll down further on the salary negotiation email sample page, get past all that above the fold text that I'm using to target keywords, an anonymous visitor would see this embedded form and also that little slide in at the bottom that says, hey, you're here reading about a sample email on salary negotiation. I can give you 7 email templates to help you with your salary negotiation if you want to opt in here. And so I can capture those leads. So this is context specific. It matches what people are searching for already. And so it's an augmentation or an upgrade for what they're reading about. And this is how I capture leads at about 1% on that page. And I'm trying to get that up to 2% this year. Thanks for your time today. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk here at MicroConf. You can find tons and tons of resources at joshduty.com/microconf. There are some acknowledgments there, links to dig deeper on each of the tactics I described, and also a way to reach out if you want to book a strategy session to talk about your own site's SEO, or if you want to talk about salary negotiation, which is my core area of expertise, so that you can get paid what you're worth at your current job as you build your own way, or just as you work on side projects so you can fund those better. Thanks a lot.